game, yo.
It's all in the game.
This right here is part of the game, D.
It's all in the game.
It's all in the game, though, right?
The game is the game.
The game is the game.
That's the game.
That's the game, yo.
Now you're in the game.
The game is the game. The game is the fucking game.
Just to tell people about the benefits of this here thing. No beefing, no drama, just business. Anybody got problems with anybody else here, we bring it to the group. We ain't gotta take it to the streets. All right, let's do it.
You know, every time I go back and watch The Wire, Stringer Bell just jumps out at me.
That's like a 40-degree day.
And not because he was the most ruthless or the most brilliant.
Nobody give a fuck about 40. Nobody remember 40, and y'all niggas is giving me way too many 40-degree days. What the fuck?
But because he represents something so painfully human, a man who wanted to live in two worlds at once.
D'Angelo, shut your mouth.
The game on one side, the business world on the other.
Need to be got.
Shit, string murder ain't no thing. But this here's some assassination shit.
I tell you, you getting somebody, you getting it. I ain't asking.
Damn, String, I don't know.
Nigga, I gotta remind who the fuck you work for.
Hey, I think Slim gonna have to sit this one out, boss. So you finna go hit a state senator now, huh?
King Kong ain't got shit on me!
Yo.
But it ain't gonna end with Clay Davis.
And as the old saying goes, you can't serve two masters. Now Stringer thought he could. He thought he could be Marlo Stanfield with a tie on. He thought he could be Avon Barksdale and Jeff Bezos rolled into one. And what's tragic and fascinating is that he failed in both. Let's start with the street side of Stringer's downfall. In the world of Baltimore's corners, respect isn't a suggestion, it's oxygen. If people don't respect you, if they don't fear you, you suffocate.
You want money? Money? Yeah, this is business. Business is where you are now. But what got you here is your word and your reputation. With that alone, you've still got an open line to New York. Without it, you're done.
Avon understood this. Marlo lived this. Omar weaponized it. But Stringer? He thought respect was an obstacle. He thought the whole gunplay and intimidation thing was bad for business.
Police sitting on all corners over these parts. Likely because we've been dropping bodies.
A liability. He wanted the corners quiet.
Come out and this is the crazy part. He say that he got his
the streets calm, like the game could somehow be sanitized.
Set up to where we can sell stuff in certain spots and the police won't bother us. I know.
But in the game, blood is the currency. It's ugly, but it's real.
No need for that.
You have look at the gore and swear it as well.
Come on. Chris, no!
You know, I keep it quick, Trey.
Here?
Here's good.
Not in the vacant. What's the difference? The difference is my people. They won't know.
Don't know.
And that's why the streets never truly respected Stringer. He wanted the crown without the blood. And in Baltimore, the crown doesn't work that way.
You know why?
Now let's flip it. What about the business side?
Yo, you know what we got here? We got an elastic product.
On paper, Stringer had all the pieces: money, ambition, brains.
You know what that means? That means when people can go elsewhere and get their printing and copying done, they're gonna do it.
Damn.
You acting like we got an inelastic product and we don't.
But when he stepped into the boardrooms with Clay Davis or into the co-op with Prop Joe, he was a tourist.
He thought money itself was power, and that's the rookie mistake. Money is just the ticket into the room. The real game is relationships, leverage, soft power. And Stringer?
He had none of that.
Yeah. They saw your ghetto ass coming from miles away, nigga.
He thought quoting Adam Smith and handing out binders would turn drug lords into shareholders. He thought handing Clay Davis a check would buy him a seat at the table.
As far as the federal money's concerned, he's everything. The faucet, the goose.
Oh, goose.
The one that lays them golden eggs.
Not to go on another rant or rabbit hole, but seriously, how could Stringer let Clay, the slickster Davis, walk away laughing like the devil in a suit and not think something was up? I mean, wasn't Stringer from the streets? Drop a comment if you believe even the most naive person wouldn't have caught on to those Rainmaker-style tricks. Clay is the kind of guy you'd want to wash your hands after shaking his. So for fun, here are a few laughs that come pretty close to his legendary cackle. Let me know in the comments which one's your favorite.
Oops, still on.
Sorry, had to get that out of my system. Now back to the program, or I mean the game.
Now your man better be as good as his word, or your word.
Clay Davis laughed in his face, took his money, said, and walked away untouched.
If you are still in possession of that kind of mentality, then you are definitely not ready.
That's what the real business world looks like. You don't just buy your way in, you learn how the invisible strings are pulled.
String.
Not now.
It's Avon.
Shut the door. Let's do it.
I mean, look at that grin of satisfaction. That is not a 40-degree day type of smile. That is a barbecue-level smile. Or should I say grin? Yeah, definitely a grin.
Ain't nobody got nothing to say about a 40-degree day. 50, bring a smile to your face. 60, shit, niggas is damn near barbecuing on that motherfucker.
I'll be in touch, partner.
And for a man named Stringer, he never understood the strings that actually mattered. This is where Machiavelli comes in. The Prince is basically a manual for power, but Stringer misunderstood it. Machiavelli wrote, "It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both." And Stringer thought he could skip that rule. He thought he could be respected like a businessman, loved like a community reformer, and feared just enough to keep order. But Machiavelli's line isn't optional, it's a warning. If you can't commit to being both, you better pick one. Stringer picked neither, and that's why he ended up with nothing.
Now here's the thing. This isn't just Stringer's problem. We see it in other great TV anti-heroes too.
Walter White, for instance. At the beginning of Breaking Bad, Walter is Stringer Bell's twin, a man trying to launder street crime into legitimacy. He talks about building an empire, but he hides behind the mask of family man, husband, father. For seasons, he plays two roles, and like Stringer, he fails both. But here's the difference. Walter eventually admits the truth. He tells Skyler,
"She did it for me." I liked it. I was good at it. And I was really alive.
Walter embraced his darkness. He chose the Empire. Stringer never chose. Stringer, by contrast, deluded himself. He thought he could just walk into the real estate game with Clay Davis and play Monopoly with blood money. He thought co-ops would replace corners. He thought Robert's Rules of Order could replace street codes, and because of that, he got exposed. He wanted to be Michael Corleone, but he ended up as Fredo. Machiavelli also wrote, "A prince who is not himself wise cannot be well advised." That's Stringer in a nutshell. He thought he was wise, but he wasn't. He dismissed Avon's street wisdom. He dismissed Prop Joe's political wisdom. And so, when people advised him, Avon telling him the game still needed blood, Prop Joe telling him to tread carefully with Clay Davis, he ignored it. A man who thinks he knows both worlds but hasn't mastered either is the most dangerous kind of fool. But let's not be too harsh. There's a reason audiences still admire Stringer.
My uncle know about this?
What'd you think?
He represents ambition. He wanted more than the block. He wanted to build.
Fucking shooting dope without a fucking needle right now, man. Getting high on a power trip, playing fucking soldier. Yo, you gotta sit back, man, and think about our business. What the fuck you want?
He wanted skyscrapers, not just row houses, and there's something inherently tragic about a man who could see the future but couldn't survive the present long enough to reach it.
The city on Monday.
Whoa, ain't that part of his original fee?
No, this was unanticipated. But look, y'all fucked up, so y'all supposed to take the hit, right?
Excuse me?
I mean, my man here don't know shit about no gun costs. He don't know nothing about no pricing, no steel. He just trying to get some shit built. Now, y'all supposed to have the expertise behind this. Only what I'm saying is it seemed like the expertise ain't where it's supposed to be.
He was playing chess in a world still playing checkers, but he forgot. In the game, the pawn doesn't care about your strategy. The pawn still cuts diagonally and takes your queen if you don't respect it. And that's the contradiction. We admire Stringer's vision, but we can't ignore his hypocrisy. He enforced rules, but lived with no principles. He talked about structure, but moved in envy. Sleeping with D'Angelo's girl, betraying Avon's trust.
All right. Now, as far as you and me go, I did you wrong by keeping you at arm's length. But it ain't gonna be like that no more.
Consoling D'Angelo's mom after ordering his death. Rules are external, principles are internal. And Stringer never had the latter. Sorry, have to go on a quick rabbit hole. Check out the scene with Stringer holding D'Angelo's kid.
Your father bucking us, little man. What you think about that, huh? I think you're right.
At first glance, it plays like tenderness, a surrogate father figure stepping in where D'Angelo couldn't. But scratch the surface, and you see something colder. Stringer doesn't want Donette, and he doesn't want that boy. What he wants is proximity to Avon. He wants to slide into the vacant space, to be seen as the man next in line. La Rochefoucauld once wrote, "We are more concerned about appearing to have virtue than about possessing it." And that's Stringer here in a nutshell. He doesn't care about family as a principle. He cares about family as performance. By holding that child, by sitting across from Donette, he puts on the mask of loyalty while hiding the blood of D'Angelo's death on his hands. This is Stringer's contradiction. The man who preaches structure but lives without principle. He comforts Donette not out of affection but ambition, its power dressed as empathy. And that's why this scene stings, because what looks like care is really theater, and sooner or later, theater can't hold back truth. You know what? When I really think about it, what is Stringer's background? The Wire gives us glimpses, flashbacks, or at least strong hints of where so many characters came from, the soil that shaped them. We know Omar, who we first meet pulling a gun on his own friend for robbing a working man for $16. That moment tells you everything. Omar lives by a code, one he probably carried with him from the beginning.
16.
He took $16 from that man on his way home from work.
16 more than we had, motherfucker.
Anthony, get it back.
Say what? Omar, man.
We see Prop Joe, even as a kid, hustling his classmates on the playground, rigging games of chance. That's who he was destined to be. A man who manipulates systems to his advantage.
But see now, I don't do business that way. And I don't have a reputation for doing business that way.
You a snake, Joe.
You cross me, I'm a snake. But on a straight up proposition, the handshake, my word is my bond. $2 for that.
Easy choice, huh?
Bubbles? We're shown his family, his sister, the thread of kinship that ties him to some hope even as he spirals.
We can have a little celebration after. Thinking I can cook us some dinner. I mean, it wouldn't be a fancy thing, mac and cheese like that. But I guarantee it'd be good to you.
We'll see.
Okay. My sister. She's good people. Been through a lot though, you know?
Avon, most of all, is inseparable from his family and his neighborhood. His stubborn loyalty, even when it makes no sense strategically, comes from that identity.
I'm asking you, man. Out of love. It's always love, D. Alright. Yeah.
But Stringer? Nothing. No flashbacks, no childhood story, no family ties. He just appears, fully formed, with glasses, business textbooks, and an ambition to escape the corners. And maybe that absence isn't laziness on the writer's part. Maybe it's intentional, because it leaves us with a man who feels rootless, a man with no country. Avon even says it outright in one of the sharpest lines of the series.
You know what, I look at you these days, you know what I see? I see a man without a country.
And Avon's not just insulting him. He's cutting to the truth.
Maybe not smart enough for them out there. Not hard enough.
Everyone else in The Wire belongs to something. Avon belongs to the game. Marlo belongs to fear. Omar belongs to his code. Even Bubbles belongs to the cycles of addiction and redemption. But Stringer, he belongs to nothing. This is where Edward Everett Hale's 1863 short story The Man Without a Country comes to mind. In it, a young soldier, Philip Nolan, denounces his country in a fit of rage, declaring he never wants to hear of it again. The court takes him literally, sentencing him to spend the rest of his life at sea, never allowed to hear news of America again. And so Nolan drifts endlessly, alive but hollow, cut off from the soil that gave him identity. His punishment isn't physical death, it's spiritual exile. That's Stringer Bell in a nutshell. He curses the corners, calling them inefficient, brutal, outdated, but he never fully embraces the business world either.
Not hard enough for this right here. And maybe, just maybe, not smart enough for them out there.
He has the money, he has the suits, but he lacks the patience, the connections, the relationships to actually belong. He's exiled from both. A man who says damn the streets while never truly welcomed by the boardroom. And like Nolan, he's alive but hollow, floating in limbo. You can even see this in how he dies. Not on a corner, not in a boardroom, but in an unfinished building. Beams, concrete, no walls, no roof. It's not a home, not an office, not a street, it's nowhere. It's limbo made physical.
Look, I understand you're angry, but at the same time, you can see the progress we've made in here. Now, I honestly don't know what passed between you and Senator Davis. But if you're unhappy with Clayton's performance, then you have to work that out.
And who takes him out? Omar and Brother Muzone. Two men who, for all their eccentricities, know exactly who they are.
This is business. Business is where you are now. But what got you here is your word and your reputation. With that alone, you've still got an open line to New York. Without it, you're done.
They are judgment incarnate, codes and reputations crashing down on a man who stood for nothing solid.
Yep. When in fact, you are exactly the kind of person who would, if you felt you needed to, shoot a man down on a housing project parking lot and then lie to the police about it, would you not?
And look, I never put my gun on no citizen.
The Wire, in so many ways, suggests that backstory matters. Where you come from explains where you end up. That's why Chris Partlow is such a chilling figure.
Shaking and jiggle it, yo. Who made that track? Yo, who you talking to, dog? I'm asking who Young Week be. You mean Two Fat's cousin? Who? Nah. Nigga, how the fuck should I know?
Yo, who the fuck is you talking?
Oh, shit. Like that.
The way he brutally beats Michael's stepfather, not just kills him, but pulverizes him.
She got kids?
I ain't touching kids. Who told you that?
I know what you're saying. But when you're in the inside, ain't no pussy.
Well, yeah, shit. You been inside. Man gotta bust his nut, know what I'm saying?
I do.
Feels like more than duty. It feels like personal pain pouring out, the suggestion that Chris himself endured abuse as a child. It's a rare moment where the show lets you glimpse the trauma behind the monster. That's the kind of origin that builds a man's identity. Omar had his code, Marlo had his hunger, Chris had trauma that hardened into violence. Stringer, we never get that glimpse. And maybe the absence itself is the point. He's a man without roots, without origin, without a country. And here's the spiritual dimension. In theology, to live without belonging, without code, without faith is to live in limbo.
Not heaven, not hell, just drifting. For Stringer, that exile wasn't just his end, it was his whole life. He didn't die rootless, he lived rootless.
So maybe that's why his story hits so hard. The Wire shows us men shaped by where they came from. But Stringer's tragedy is that he seems to come from nowhere. And a man from nowhere, without a code, without a country, is already doomed.
Damn, you didn't even wait to get the motherfucker in the house.
Please leave a comment about a deep analysis of Stringer's background if I missed anything. Stringer? He quoted Machiavelli, but never understood him. He thought The Prince was about shortcuts, when really it's about consistency.
The cash too. I was like, all right, y'all get your payday.
Yo, how the fuck is Orlando gonna front this type of cash? What it say?
I know, I fucked up. I know. Are you one of those single-tier people? Do I look like a double fucking rainbow to you? You must be upset. Are you upset?
How much?
35,000 so far.
On $250,000 you gave him.
For bribing the motherfuckers.
There are no bribes. You really think a state senator is going to risk his salary and his position by walking into a federal office with a briefcase full of drug money?
Wait for it.
I seen Chunky Coach.
Chunky Coach gets his grant money same way everyone does. He fills out applications, he makes sure the plans meet spec, then he prays like hell. This is an old game in this town. And Clay Davis, that Gonoff was born with his head in someone's pocket. Just wish you'd have run it by me sooner. I'm upset.
Say it so the whole band can hear you.
I'm upset.
Louder!
I'm upset.
Louder!
I'm upset!
Machiavelli said, a prince is despised if he is considered changeable, frivolous, effeminate, timid, or irresolute. And what was Stringer? Changeable. One moment he's Avon's muscle.
Man, they're gonna pull your parole. Let me take care of this.
The next he's Adam Smith's student.
Start thinking about this shit like some grown fucking men. Not some niggas off the fucking corner, you heard me? Adjourn your asses.
One moment he's enforcing rules.
Tear out them phones. From now on, y'all need a pay phone, you walk a few blocks, and do not use the same phone more than once a day. You hear me? You hear me, right?
Done.
The next he's betraying his own people.
My nigga, I would take the motherfucker out if I could, but Avon can't know it came from his own people, right?
Irresolute to the end. It reminds me of Walter White again. Walt lies, manipulates, kills, but eventually he chooses. He admits what he is. He becomes Heisenberg. Stringer never made that leap. He wanted to stay Russell Bell, community college student.
Secretary, to announce that the maximum penalties will be sought against this officer.
I got a midterm. I gotta study.
While also being Stringer, the enforcer. You can't be both, or Tony Soprano. Tony is a mess of contradictions, but he never deludes himself into thinking he'll be accepted in the legitimate world.
Two endings for a guy like me. High-profile guy. Dead or in a game.
Robert's Rules wasn't just a random book. It was first published in 1876 by U.S. Army officer Henry Martin Robert, who wanted to create order in chaotic public meetings. The idea was to democratize debate, keep discussions organized, and prevent powerful voices from dominating unfairly. It became the handbook for civic groups, school boards, and legislatures. When Stringer uses it to run the co-op, it's more than just a gag, it's symbolic. He's trying to import the order of civil society into the chaos of the corners.
All those in favor of going together so we can get the best discount on New York package. Raise up. All right then.
There it is.
Looks like we're gonna make more money. Together.
Gotta say I'm proud of y'all for putting aside petty grievances and putting this thing together. For a cold-ass crew of gangsters, y'all carried it like Republicans and shit.
And yo, remember, man, talk this shit up when you hit them bricks. Best way to get more involved is to tell people about the benefits of this here thing. No beefing, no drama, just business. Anybody got problems with anybody else here, we bring it to the group. We ain't gotta take it to the streets. All right, let's do it. Yo. Motherfucker, what is that?
The Robert rules say we gotta have minutes for a meeting, right? These the minutes.
Nigga, is you taking notes on a criminal fucking conspiracy? What the fuck is you thinking, man?
But it's absurd because drug lords aren't PTA members, they're predators. They don't need motions in seconds, they need loyalty and fear. By leaning on Robert's rules, Stringer mistook process for principle. He thought the game could be tamed with parliamentary procedure. But the game doesn't care about minutes or quorums. It cares about blood and reputation. That's why his lack of principles destroyed him. He thought the game was about efficiency. But the game is about loyalty, respect, reputation. You can't outsource those to a rule book. Omar leaned into who he was. He even testified in court. Do you remember that? When Levy tries to break him down.
You are a parasite who leeches off.
Omar flips it right back.
Just like you,
the culture of drugs. Excuse me? What?
I got the shotgun. You got the briefcase. It's on the game though, right?
That line hits like a hammer. Because Omar, for all his violence, saw the truth clearer than Stringer ever did. He knew everyone was playing the same dirty game, just in different uniforms.
And look, I ain't never put my gun on no citizen.
You are amoral. Are you not?
So let's really dig into this. Why is Omar seen as honorable? It's not because he was good. Let's not kid ourselves. Omar killed people.
Come on, get in the car!
He instilled terror.
Hey, y'all, here it comes!
But he did it while drawing a boundary, and boundaries matter in chaos. He made the game fair in his own twisted way. And that paradox, being a criminal with a conscience, is why the streets saw him as a man with honor.
A man got to have a code.
Stringer, though? Stringer tried to rise above it, but in doing so, he sank beneath it. His dishonor wasn't just in what he did, it was in what he pretended to be. He wanted to play at legitimacy, but he was still ordering murders. He wanted to be seen as a builder, but he built nothing that lasted. And when Omar and brother Muzone cornered him in that construction site, Stringer's entire empire collapsed in that one echoing space.
I understand you're angry, but at the same time you can see the progress we've made in here. Now, I honestly don't know what passed between you and Senator Davis, but if you're unhappy with Clayton's performance, then you have to work that out. Shit!
He died not as a boss, not as a kingpin, but as a man caught between two worlds he never fully belonged to.
Oh, God!
And here's where Marlowe complicates things. Marlowe didn't care about honor in the way Omar did. He didn't need a code beyond absolute fear. He killed Prop Joe. He filled up vacant houses with bodies. He made sure anyone who even whispered about crossing him ended up gone.
Look what they did to my ride.
Do it or don't, but I got some place to be.
But, and this is crucial, the streets still respected him.
Marlowe step to any motherfucker, Omar, Barksdale, whoever. My name is my name.
Why? Because he was consistent. He never pretended to be something else. That's the dividing line. Sorry, another rabbit hole regarding one of his scenes while in college. This represents Stringer as being good, but not good enough to surge in either the business world or the game. That A- on his measuring macroeconomic variables paper is such a subtle, perfect metaphor. On paper, Stringer is sharp, educated, someone who can learn the vocabulary of economics and apply it to the streets. But that minus sign, that's everything. He's almost excellent, almost brilliant, almost ready for the boardroom. But not quite. And when you think about it, Stringer's entire arc is an A-. He's good at reading Adam Smith, but he misreads Machiavelli. He's good at making the co-op look like a boardroom, but he can't see that Prop Joe is playing him. He's good at cutting corners in the drug trade, but he underestimates how much reputation and blood still matter, and a minus man in a world that only rewards A+. Look at the miscalculations. With Brother Muzone, he thought he could engineer his own chessboard, send Omar against him, eliminate both threats, and come out clean. But Muzone wasn't a man you could manipulate with half measures. Reputation was his armor, and Stringer underestimated that. With Marlowe, he thought a co-op would be enough to tame him, but Marlowe wasn't interested in money. He was interested in power. And in the game, power is thicker than profit. Avon, too.
Stringer thought Avon would eventually bend to the logic of economics, the inevitability of legitimacy. But Avon wasn't built for spreadsheets. He was built for corners.
And that stubbornness was his strength, not his weakness. We have to talk about the episode called Stray Rounds. I mean, what a masterpiece of an episode. The setup and payoff.
Brother Muzone.
He's sending him, brother?
From New York. Coming down to work on retainer. For as long as we need.
Brother Muzone.
Did I stutter?
Cut to the dimly lit back room where Stringer meets with Prop Joe. The contrast couldn't be sharper. Joe leans back in his chair, that heavy frame and sly grin giving the impression of a man who knows every inch of the board before the pieces even move.
You need to deal with it.
All right, so listen, we got some time here. All right? Avon got to send up word, wait for word to come back, set up a price, talk to Brother Muzone. I mean, set up the whole shit, and that's like a week or maybe two. And by that time, your people's gonna be in the towers. And if the money's right, then that is what it is.
He talks like he's buying real estate, not defending an empire. But Joe shuts that fantasy down. He leans forward, his face heavy with seriousness, and says it plain.
You don't think I'm gonna send any of my people up against brother? Shit. That nigga got more bodies on him than a Chinese cemetery.
True.
Suddenly, the room feels smaller, darker. You can almost see Stringer's poise flicker for just a second, like a man who's realized the fine print has caught him off guard.
Ain't no nigga from New York gonna change the facts from the ground. Right?
And then, the brilliance of the scene, we don't wait long. The very next sequence gives us Brother Muzone's entrance. He steps onto the Baltimore street in a tailored suit, bow tie perfectly tied, glasses gleaming. His posture is upright, almost preacher-like, but his reputation is so thick in the air that soldiers whisper before he even says a word. He doesn't need to brandish a gun. The myth does the work. This is where Stringer's miscalculation becomes fatal. He thought in weeks, in price points, in handshakes and delays, but fear doesn't wait for schedules. Fear rewrites the board instantly. Avon didn't just bring in muscle. He brought in a living symbol.
The hell are you supposed to be?
I'm vengeance.
A man whose reputation alone freezes the corners. It's a masterpiece of irony. Stringer's still talking about time, but the game has already moved on without him. While he plans negotiations, Brother Muzone is already here, bow tie straight, reputation sharp as a blade, undoing every illusion Stringer had about control.
You know what I'm saying? He don't know what this is. He ain't what he think. You know what I'm saying? First of all, we got permission to grind in these here towers. Second of all, I don't give a fuck what the fuck you need.
Alright, let's run this scene back. We're in the hospital room. Brother Muzone is sitting up, calm as ever, bandaged but poised, while Stringer Bell walks in. And immediately, right off the bat, you can already see how uncomfortable Stringer looks just walking through that door. His shoulders are stiff, his eyes don't know where to land. And for a guy who's supposed to be the smart one, you'd think he'd know how to carry better body language. He looks guilty before he even opens his mouth. Now watch this moment. Brother Muzone, polite as ever, asks Stringer to have a seat. And what does Stringer do? He declines. He says he's got important business to take care of.
Have a seat. I can't. Gotta get back out there, take care of business. Just wanted to make sure they were treating you right.
Making the most of it. I'm catching up on my reading at least.
Think about that for a second. You're saying this to a man who's literally lying in a hospital bed with a bullet wound, a dog still bleeding out. That's Stringer's first slip. He wants to look busy, authoritative, but he comes off dismissive, even fake. He's pretending to check in, but the performance is hollow. Let's rewind that just a touch.
Just wanted to make sure they were treating you right.
On the surface, it's polite, but underneath, it's awkward. It doesn't sound like someone who really cares if you're in pain. It sounds like a man trying to paper over his nerves with customer service talk. Brother catches it immediately. He doesn't even look shaken, doesn't even flinch. He just deadpans back.
I'm catching up on my reading at least.
That's shade, by the way. That's Muzone's way of saying, I don't need your sympathy. Now watch Stringer double down. He goes into his "we got your back" line.
We got you understand?
I appreciate the offer, but that won't be necessary.
And this right here is where Avon's words echo later.
But we gotta hit right back, make a statement, but Mazone not saying who did that shit.
You asked him who it was?
Yeah, I asked him.
Why? Why what?
How you gonna ask a soldier like Mazone a question like that? Either he gonna say or he gonna go and work it out. Either way, you ain't got to be asking him shit.
A soldier lives and dies by reputation, not pity. And Stringer, in trying to play loyal, just outs himself as deceitful. The camera even lingers on Muzone's face here. See that little shift in his eyes? He's clocking it. He knows something more is at play. Pause again, another misstep. Stringer says,
You know, whoever did this, we'll find him.
Think about how weird that sounds. This isn't a childhood friend who got jumped. This is a professional enforcer who got paid to hold down territory. And Stringer is talking like it's some neighborhood spat. In the world Muzone comes from, this kind of talk is almost insulting. Normally a mob boss would be yelling, "How did you let this happen?" Instead, Stringer tries to play it smooth, and in doing so, he makes himself suspicious. Brother declines, of course, calmly, coldly, cutting him off. He doesn't raise his voice, he doesn't argue, he just says,
Inform Mr. Barksdale that any obligation he feels he might have with regards to this incident, it's absolved, along with our agreement.
And this, right here, is the brilliance of the writing. That one word, absolved. Stringer doesn't even catch it. He hears it as forgiveness, a clean slate. But Muzone didn't absolve them, he absolved Avon. He cut the cord between himself and the Barksdales, and by omission, left Stringer hanging in the wind. Avon is cleared. Stringer is exposed. Let's stop on that for a second. Nobody even knew where Brother was, except Avon and Stringer. That's the real seed of suspicion. And when Muzone uses that word, absolved, it's a lawyer's move. It sounds polite, but it's actually the sharpest dagger in the room. It says, Avon, you're clean. Stringer, I see you. Now the conversation starts to shut down.
Well, all I'm saying is... I understand perfectly well what you're saying. What I am saying to you is, I will take care of them myself.
Watch Stringer here. Instead of letting it ride, instead of nodding and walking out with whatever dignity he has left, he slips again. He says,
Them?
And that's the fatal tell. Because why would an innocent man need clarification? Why would he press for details unless he knew too much? That's the moment Muzone knows exactly who he's dealing with. And Muzone doesn't even entertain it. He doesn't name names, he doesn't accuse, he just ends it.
Who came at you?
Thank you for your concern.
That's the gavel drop. That's the courtroom verdict right there. He doesn't need to say more. Stringer leaves thinking he smoothed things over, but in reality, he just dug his own grave. Rewatch the scene with that in mind, and you'll see it's not just dialogue. It's a masterclass in tension, in body language, in word choice. Stringer tries to act like a businessman, but his discomfort betrays him. Muzone never raises his voice, never loses his composure, but the weight of every carefully chosen word crushes Stringer flat. You know, watching that hospital scene with Brother Muzone, you start realizing something. That moment isn't a slip-up in isolation. It's a symptom of who Stringer Bell is at his core. A man constantly playing a game he doesn't understand, making the same mistake over and over again, trying to control chaos with logic, trying to win the streets like it's a business class at night school. Let's run through it, because The Wire gives us plenty of receipts on Stringer's downfall. First, there's the Sunday morning conversation, the infamous meeting between Avon and Stringer, sunlight pouring through the window like divine judgment. Two men on opposite sides of philosophy pretending they still share the same dream. Stringer's talking co-ops, legitimization, real estate, future. Avon's talking corners, soldiers, muscle. You can almost feel the disconnect widen with every word. This is where Stringer's arrogance blooms. He believes that the game can evolve through intellect, that you can take a street empire built on blood and dress it in a suit, make it respectable. He thinks rationality is a weapon.
If we ain't standing here right now with the whole world at our feet, the whole world, man, not these fucking corners.
But in Avon's world, belief is the real power. Avon's a warlord, and warlords don't negotiate peace, they enforce dominance.
So you're talking about letting it slide for a time, maybe. You know what I'm saying? We put the word out that you ready to talk a truce. When this nigga come out from underneath his rock, You hit that nigga, but right now, this shit got out of hand, y'all.
That's the moment Stringer forgets where he comes from. Avon was born in the corners, baptized in violence. Stringer was reborn in textbooks. Their goals are no longer aligned.
So ahead of us, I mean, you gonna get some shit in this game, but ain't shit for free. We could do like Little Willie, man, back in the day with all that number money. And run this goddamn city like businessmen.
And what's worse, Stringer still doesn't realize that reason doesn't convince men of power. Fear does. Machiavelli said, "It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both." And Stringer, poor Stringer, tries to be both. He wants the respect of a scholar and the fear of a king, but in trying to merge those two worlds, he ends up mastering neither. Now fast forward to his conversation with Marlo Stanfield, another fatal chapter in the book of Stringer's Miscalculations. Stringer approaches Marlo like a business partner, not a rival. He talks about profits, unity, the bigger picture, but Marlo doesn't play that game.
That's why me and Prop Joe, we're getting ready to put this co-op together. Different crews, one package. Best dope, best coke. Share like.
He doesn't care about profits. His currency is power. His motivation is immortality through fear.
Let him know Marlo step to any motherfucker, Omar, Barksdale, whoever. My name is my name.
When Stringer tries to reason with him, you can almost see the confusion in Marlo's eyes. This man, this supposed legend of the Barksdales, is standing in front of him talking like a real estate agent. Stringer's speaking the language of contracts, Marlo's speaking the language of blood. That's the irony. Stringer spent his whole life trying to separate himself from the street, but every time he opened his mouth, the street reminded him who he really was.
Man, every market-based business runs in cycles, and we're going through a down cycle right now.
String, this ain't about your motherfucking business class either. It ain't that part of it. It's that other thing. The street is the street, always.
And speaking of miscalculations, let's talk about his biggest, Omar and Brother Muzone, the plan that sealed his fate. Now on paper, it sounds clever. Set Omar up to kill Muzone, remove two problems at once. But this is where Stringer confuses cleverness with wisdom.
Oh, so now you're gonna play like you don't have nothing to do with it?
Nah, I can't lie. I put the motherfucking paper out on y'all, but y'all was fucking with my stash. Anything after that, part of the game.
Machiavelli warned about this kind of thinking too, saying, "The wise man does at once what the fool does finally." Stringer acts like the fool here, trying to manipulate men of principle with tricks and deception. He doesn't understand Omar Muzone at all. Omar is a man of code. He robs drug dealers but never civilians. He's violent, yes, but only within a self-imposed moral compass. And Muzone, he's an ideologue. His entire identity revolves around reputation, image, and control. You can't outthink men like that. You have to understand them.
But with a scar across his face, like so. You down with this nigga?
And Stringer doesn't. He underestimates them both. When the setup fails, when Muzone lives, the board is flipped. His scheme doesn't just backfire, it creates an alliance between two of the most dangerous men in the city.
I suppose we could stand here all night.
Suppose we could. Or settle this once and forever.
Omar and Muzone, two different philosophies of the game, united by a single purpose. Stringer Bell.
I want to ask you something, brother.
Omar listening.
That's not strategy. That's poetic justice.
The man didn't even know what I was saying. So I just eased off. You think brother played me?
No. Y'all can't read line eyes after all these years. And I'll be talking to a dead man.
Your man, in effect, sought to have me hit. Omar told you that and you believe that motherfucker? He doesn't strike me as a man who would tell stories, even at the point of dying. Shit.
And yet, his most tragic mistake isn't even that. It's the confession about D'Angelo. People always say he admitted it out of guilt, but that's wrong. It wasn't guilt, it was pride.
You know what, I look at you these days, you know what I see? I see a man without a country. Not hard enough for this right here. And maybe, just maybe, not smart enough for them out there. Not hard enough.
Stringer confessed to Avon because he wanted to prove he was hard. He wanted to show that he could make ruthless choices, that he wasn't just some soft businessman hiding behind spreadsheets. He wanted Avon to see him as an equal, someone capable of making the hard calls.
But what he didn't understand was that Avon didn't measure strength that way.
Indiscriminate, I ain't hard enough. Because I think before I snatch a life, I ain't in this bullshit.
To Avon, killing D'Angelo wasn't strength, it was betrayal.
Snatch a life? What life you snatch, huh?
You can't be hard if you break the code. You can't be loyal if you kill family. And when Stringer admits it, you can almost see Avon's soul leave the room. There's no more debate, no more brotherhood, just inevitability.
You know, Brianna went downtown, man, saw that detective. Man stoking her head saying that D'Angelo's death is no suicide.
Yeah. Oh, no you didn't. No you didn't.
No, you couldn't do it.
Snap.
Brianna wouldn't do that shit. But there you go, a life that had to be snatched, Avon.
That's what makes Stringer's story so devastating. He wasn't taken out because he was stupid. He was taken out because he was misaligned. He lived in the in-between, a purgatory between intellect and instinct, ambition and loyalty, boardroom and block. He thought he was Machiavelli, but he was really Caesar. Stabbed, not just by his enemies, but by the people who once believed in him. Every move Stringer made, reasoning with Marlowe, confessing to Avon, playing Omar and Mouzone, was driven by the same delusion, that he could rationalize power. But the streets don't deal in reason. They deal in fear, in loyalty, in names. And in the end, that's why Stringer fell. Not because he wasn't smart, but because he thought smart was enough.
Because if it is, man, I could be a better friend to y'all alive.
You still don't get it, do you? Huh? This ain't about your money, bro. The boy gave you up. That's right. And we ain't had to torture his ass neither.
You ever notice how many of Stringer Bell's meetings happen in a funeral home? It's one of those quiet details you might miss at first, but once you see it, it never leaves you. The Barksdales could have met in a warehouse or a back room, but no. Over and over, they gather under dim lights, surrounded by lilies and polished coffins. It's not just atmosphere, it's prophecy. The show's whispering the truth. Everyone at that table is already dead. Stringer runs those meetings like a boardroom. He's got binders, charts, co-op plans, quoting Robert's rules as if structure could sanitize the game. On the surface, it looks clean and professional. But look closer. He's not a CEO building a future. He's a ghost rehearsing his own eulogy. The walls themselves scream mortality. Even the kids call Chris and Snoop zombies, but they could have said the same for everyone there. Alive, but hollow. That's Stringer's tragedy. He thinks he can outthink death, turn the game into business, climb out of the graveyard, but the setting says otherwise. In this world, there are only two endings, dirt or bars, no skyscrapers, no retirement, and that death doesn't stop with them. It spreads, dripping into the streets, poisoning addicts, families, kids. Every polished table meeting, every smart plan, ripples outward in destruction. Take Bubbles, the soul of The Wire. Smart, funny, endlessly human, yet trapped in addiction. When Sherrod, the boy he tries to save, drinks from his poison stash and dies, it's not just one overdose. It's a reflection of those meetings. Another coffin, another life lost because of choices made by men pretending to run a business. Or Michael's mother, not dead but gone. Addiction hollowed her out until she fed on her own son's innocence. That's another funeral, another ghost, not of a body but of love.
Damn, you grew. He had 12 years.
Even D'Angelo, he sat at that table alive but already condemned. His chess speech told us everything: kings, pawns, and sacrifice. He knew how it ended. The funeral home wasn't just a backdrop, it was foreshadowing. His prison death was simply the final shovel of dirt, and the nameless ones, the addicts slumped in alleys, the overdoses no one counts, they're all casualties too. Every binder Stringer flips is another death warrant disguised as business. That's The Wire's brilliance. It never lets us forget that the game doesn't stop at the players. It kills everyone it touches. Then there are the Greeks, the cold contrast. The Greek ain't even Greek. They move millions invisibly, while the Barksdales die over scraps. The Greeks meet in cafes, the Barksdales meet beside coffins. One lives forever, the other dies pretending to be legitimate. That's why the funeral home scenes hit so hard. They mock Stringer's dreams. He thinks he's building skyscrapers, but he's stacking caskets. You can't build life in a house meant for the dead. Kierkegaard said, "The most painful state of being is remembering the future, especially the one you'll never have." That's Stringer Bell, dreaming of legitimacy while sitting in his own tomb. And when you zoom out, the funeral home becomes Baltimore itself, burying its gangsters, its kids, its addicts, its hope. The Greeks' tide flows on, the city's heartbeat slows, and everyone at that table, they were ghosts long before the credits rolled. So here's the haunting question. Would Stringer Bell have ever survived in our world? If he started clean, no corners, no Barksdale ties, would he have made it in business? Or was he always doomed by the split inside him? Let's go. Maybe that's the brilliance of The Wire. It doesn't just show us men rising and falling. It shows us what happens when ambition outruns principle. And Stringer Bell, with his binders, his rules, and his betrayals, is ambition without principle made flesh.
Alright, let's go. This way, come on.
Thank you for watching to the end. If you enjoyed what you saw, please like, share, and subscribe. I might do a bunch of Wire videos based on how this goes. Any feedback would be great. See you in the next video.